This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on sportstalksc.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
All right, welcome in, everybody. It is Sports Talk on the Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. It's great to be with you on this toasty Wednesday afternoon. Hit 95 in my car today, so we're in the toasty category. But we got some weather moving in. Hopefully the weather won't mess up the baseball tomorrow. We're going to hear from Mark Kingston tonight, USC baseball coach. Of course, they got a huge series with Georgia. They faced the number one hitter in America, Chris Bergen, a guy with 33 taters. I don't mean Clemson fans. I mean 33 home runs.
Mm-hmm.
Got 33 home runs and 459 batting average. I think he leads America in batting average and home runs. He's like in the top 10 in runs batted in. However, you would think Georgia has hit, as a team, 122 home runs. You would think they would lead the country in home runs, but they do not lead the country in home runs.
They've hit enough. They really have. And I think Carolina fans this weekend are going to get to see the Golden Spikes Award winner. I just, at one point in time early in the season, I thought Blake Wright was certainly in the running for that, and he still may be. But in terms of just awesome raw numbers, and you just look offensively, I don't know that anybody can touch Charlie Condon.
No.
And I thought Mark Kingston's comments about, well, the only way to pitch to him is throw it to the backstop and hope he doesn't steal second base. He may not be far off, but the problem is we touched on last night, Phil, is the fact if you try and pitch around him, they've got enough guys in that lineup that can protect him and make you pay and turn what his solo home run would be into a two-run or a three-run home run.
Plus, their pitching has gotten a little bit better at Georgia, so it should be a heck of a series. The Gamecocks are feeling pretty good about themselves right now coming off that series win at Missouri, and they're swinging a hot bat. They scored a bunch of runs last night. You know, we are what? It's May the 8th? May the 8th, and the Gamecocks have hit 15 home runs in this month. So they are heating up. Some of the batting averages are going up, and their pitching, that's where they got to get a little bit better. It's going to be Kimball / Good. Kimball's going to start.
I don't understand that.
Thursday, and then Good will come in after about 4 innings.
And Mark Kingston sees those guys a whole lot more often than I do, obviously, and he's with them every day. I just don't understand continuing to stick with Roman Kimball, because of the way he's pitched the last couple of ball games. Why not run out Ty Good and let him start tomorrow night and see what he can do? Because if you look at their statistics, he's got the best ERA on the staff. He's 5-1 on the season. He started twice this year. His strikeout to walk ratio is really, really good. 56 Ks to just 19 walks. And opponents are hitting 180 against him. Put that comparison alongside Roman Kimball, who is 2-1 on the year with a 4.61 ERA, 39 strikeouts, 28 walks, and opponents are hitting 179 against him. So I guess in terms of that, he's a little bit better. But he has not pitched well. He has not gotten them out of the second inning or third inning his last couple of starts. I don't know why you wouldn't shift it a little bit and run Ty Good out there. And I'm not so sure I wouldn't throw Matthew Becker on Friday night in place of Eli Jones, who has not pitched all that well here the past couple of weekends. Maybe just give those guys a day off, let their minds correct, because you can't afford to lose this series this weekend against Georgia. This is one you need and can vault you further up in the standings, not just in the SEC, but also probably cement you hosting an NCAA regional. So I just, I think he's made the right decisions offensively to get that lineup cooking. I just have to question some of the things they're doing pitching-wise, especially with their starting rotation.
Yeah, you're right. It's a key series. These two teams are tied with the sixth best record in the SEC right now. And depending on what happens, they could still move up. I mean, obviously, one's trying to get to 5, and then maybe they could sneak into 4 if they were to. They'd probably have to win out, this week and next week. But it's a huge series for South Carolina regarding their future. related to the SEC tournament positioning and, of course, the NCAA tournament. We got new projections today from D1 Baseball. We'll tell you about that in just a moment. Tonight on the show, we've got a dandy show for you. Tim Whipple at 7:05. He'll join us. I mentioned Mark Kingston. We'll hear from him. And Tim Whipple, 7:05, will join us live, the retiring basketball coach at Irmo High School and one of the best high school coaches ever in the state of South Carolina, so we look forward to visiting with him. We hope to have with us tonight, 7:35, Chad Holbrook, coach at the College of Charleston. The Cougars won over the Citadel last night. They've won something like 20 of their last 22, so they are red hot. He's having one of his best seasons in Charleston. Now, he's got a dinner he has to attend, little family, wifey type thing, and it's all going to depend on the timing, how that goes, and he'll let us know at the top of the hour if he can join us tonight. If not, we'll get him another night. And Brad Brownell met with the media for the first time since the end of the season, met with the media this afternoon, and we're going to hear a little bit from him. I know you were keeping a close watch. Yeah, we hope. You were keeping a close watch on that. I know that he was asked about contract talks, and he said those are ongoing and something could come out pretty soon on that. And he talked about changeover in the roster and having to continue to recruit both his own team and out of the portal, and still looking to add some other players. So anything else you took away from it?
I thought a couple of his comments were rather telling and interesting. He talked about the NIL and the importance of that on transfer recruiting. He said, quote, one of the reasons we were in the Elite Eight was for all the fundraising, and he called it friend raising, for 14 years. That on itself is a pretty solid comment, but then he went on to add, I do deserve a lot of credit for that. That's been a little bit of a sore spot of mine. So I thought that was kind of interesting that Brad Brownell said, look, I'm having to fundraise and do all this NIL stuff on my own. At least is what it sounds like. And again, you can't dictate tone from what John Blau, who was there in person, was able to tweet out. But the other thing I thought was fascinating as well about the improvements that they have made to Little John Coliseum and some of the other things they're doing for men's and women's basketball. And he said some recruits come to Clemson possibly because they think it's a football school and are usually impressed by the facilities. His comment, I guess he took this as a backhanded compliment because he went on to say, it's great to hear, but what was your expectation? Again, why would you expect it not to be good?
Yeah, exactly. He gets a little defensive sometimes. He's a defensive-minded coach, and he gets a little defensive sometimes, and I think it's justified because
I agree.
You know, he's caught a lot of grief over his time at Clemson, and I'm not going to repeat what's commonly said. It's a tough job. We know it's a tough job. But I think he's done about as well as you can do in that situation. I mean, you know, Clemson basketball is what it is. It's competitive. He's made it competitive. Mm-hmm. He's made them among the top half of the winners over the last 4 or 5 or 6 years. They've been in the top 50% of the winning in ACC play. So I don't know what else you could ask for. You know, got to a tournament, got to an Elite Eight, probably should have gone to a tournament last year, et cetera, et cetera. So I think he's doing well, but I think that the team, you know, if Chase Hunter does not come back, my guess is he will. But if he does not come back, I mean, they're going to be almost completely brand new next season. Next season could be a tough one unless the pieces he's putting together here come together and form a really good team. That's the thing about taking it out of the portal and putting guys together and mixing in some fresh high school players. You don't know what you've got year by year. You don't know what kind of team you're going to put on the court.
Well, and I think that'll be an unfair situation that he may end up being in. Let's assume for a moment Chase Hunter does not come back just for the sake of the argument. They would have virtually had to rebuild their entire roster, and if they struggle next year, you will have the people who, regardless of what Brad Brownell does, heck, the guy could come out and find a cure for cancer, and there would be people saying, well, why didn't you get it sooner? I mean, I don't know that there are certain portions of the Clemson fan base he's never going to please unless he wins the national championship, and then that may still not be enough. But I think if they struggle next year because of the turnover in the roster, you'll hear from that portion of the fan base saying, see, I told you so. So an Elite Eight appearance, but he can't follow it up. He can't go back-to-back. He can't string together consistency, which I think is a false narrative because he's done that, especially here of late. But I just, I think it's going to be a tough road to hoe for him to next season if a guy like Chase Hunter does not come back, considering he's already lost P.J. Hall to the NBA draft. He's all-star Jay Godfrey, Josh Beadle, Jack Clark, some of those other guys who have jumped in the transfer portal. I mean, it's not only a tough job just to go out and beat the North Carolinas and Dukes of the world, it's also a tough job reselling your recruits to stay at Clemson and help continue to build that program.
Yeah, absolutely. Clemson baseball, they play at Wake Forest tomorrow. No, they start on Friday. South Carolina and Georgia. I think most of the SEC teams are maybe playing on Thursday to avoid playing on Mother's Day. But
that would be my assumption.
Yeah, but
I think Clemson missed an opportunity with them playing, and I realize they don't get to set the ACC schedule, but them being in Charlotte last night, they could have just bust on up to Winston-Salem, started the series tomorrow night.
Yeah, but they don't make that call.
No,
either the ACC or Wake Forest does. But, last night, and this again, Clemson, beautiful record, and they're finding ways to win, but, man, do they play with fire quite a bit. I mean, it's one thing. They're proud of their ability to come from behind, but then again, you shouldn't be having to be in a position to come from behind so often and putting yourself against the wall like that. I mean, they had a nice lead last night. Their bullpen was not good again last night, and I have to question how far this team can go. I know they got great offense. I know they can play pretty good defense. I got to question how far they can go with this pitching the way it's been going on the mound for them here of late.
That would be a major concern if I'm Eric Mackich, and he's not going to say that because he's got to be proud of what his team does in terms of comeback wins like last night. This should not have been a situation, but also just the two-out hitting. Again, last night, they're in a hole in the ninth inning, probably going to lose that game to UNC Charlotte, and they find a way to get a couple of runs with 2 outs in the ninth. And then able to hold it off in the bottom of the inning to win. That works for you in the regular season, but Phil, I think where that might start to bite them in the backside, they get into a regional. If they're trailing late because the middle relief has blown a lead, then the pressure starts to creep in on them. Gosh, we haven't gotten out of a region since the early 2010s. We've got to find a way to win this regional, and then you start, I don't think, play with as much confidence nor as free as that team does. You watch them right now, and they look like they don't have a care in the world, down a couple of runs in the ninth inning with 2 outs. They've done it enough where they believe they're going to come back and win. Problem is you get into postseason when the margin for error is so slim, you get in that situation and you wonder how the pressure might affect them.
Yeah, really. Well, they are a team – with that game last night, their pitching has allowed double-digit runs 6 times this season. I mean, that sounds like a pretty heavy number, pretty high number. 6 times they've given up double-digit runs. They've given up 8 runs once. They've given up 9 runs once. They've given up 8 runs another time. So that's twice they've given up 8 runs. So, I mean, look, I know teams give up runs. This seems to me like their pitching staff is not really getting it done at a high level to represent a team that is now 37-10 and ranked as high as number 2. We'll see what happens when they get to the postseason when it really matters. Maybe they will just mash the baseball and outscore everybody and advance that way. The Gamecocks had another football player hit the portal. John, Flushing. Can we get the flush real quick here? By the way, I have to credit Josh Cohen, our producer extraordinaire, because I walked in here a couple of seconds behind schedule, and and he went and got me my little stand here for the camera and put the backdrop behind me, and this is a big day for Josh. He doesn't know this. I'm going to announce this right now. Today, Josh, it's a big day for you, son. You officially were put into my speed dial on my phone. So,
oh wow,
yeah, it's very few get that illustrious honor. So, congratulations, well deserved.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I got something for you, all right?
What you got? Yeah. So we got a Gamecock in the Porta-John and being flushed out of the Gamecock program. A guy who I thought when they took him from UAB, everything about him looked like player. Looked like he was going to be a player for the Gamecocks, but it didn't work out for them, and he announced that he is going to be transferring. Drew Twazama. Is it pronounced right? Twazama? And he's headed out of the Gamecock program after coming in from UAB, going through spring practice and everything, and I guess maybe just not making the impact that he thought he was going to make. So that's one headed out of Gamecockville. On the golf scene, let's give you what happened here. Clemson had a great regional. Tigers finished second to Texas A&M at 2 under par, 4 back of the winner LSU. The Tigers were even on their round today. Annabelle Pancake, she finished second at -1. She played -9. She played extremely well. So the Tigers are advancing. South Carolina, they had to grind today. At one point, they were in 7th during the round, but they got it together, and they finished 4th in their regional, tied for 4th. They move on to the championship round. The Gamecocks finished at +27, tied with Tulsa, and that was just one shot better than Georgia and Houston, who finished tied for 6th. So they got in just right barely at the cut line of the top 5 at +27. They did have the third best team round of the day, well, actually tied for second best at +5 with North Carolina. Oregon was -5. So Auburn, Oregon, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tulsa advance from that regional to the women's championship. Leading the way for the Gamecocks was Louise Ridquist, who finished tied for second at 2 under par. She had a 71 today. Hannah Darling never got it going. I mean, she is right there with Ridquist as her best player, but she struggled, and she finished with a 77 and a +12 for the tournament for her. The second best score for the Gamecocks for the tournament was turned in by Sophia Burnett at +3, and she had a 74 today. So South Carolina and Clemson advancing, Charleston Southern not advancing from their regional. So we got 2 women's teams advancing to the championships in California. So congratulations to those folks, and good luck to them moving forward. And we'll get the men's regional going on next week. As for Clemson, by the way, today the Tigers shot even par, and they finished at 4 under par for the tournament. And I mentioned Pancake had a terrific tournament, and she finished second, had a 70 today, left her at -9. And she was the only Tiger in the top 20. Next best score for them was Melina Barrientos at +4, tied for 21. And she had a 69 today, though. She had the best round of the day for the Tigers. So those teams advancing to the national championship. I know you're getting ready, you and Smitty getting ready for some golf beginning tomorrow and Friday over in Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, looking forward to being over at the Myrtle Beach Classic on Friday afternoon. We'll be down there. We'll broadcast live the hour portion of the show from over there. May have to track down George Bryan and bring him on with us as well, so that'll be fun. But, yeah, looking forward to another PGA Tour event here in South Carolina along the Grand Strand. I think the Dunes will do a terrific job of putting that tournament on, and they start, I believe, about 7:30 in the morning, be when the first players go off, I'm assuming, number 1 tee tomorrow.
Yeah, they'll probably go off both because they got, I think, a big field. I would imagine they're going to go off 1 and 10 to get everybody in, just my guess. You guys will be out there for the, like the traditional, like they do at the Masters. Don't they have, isn't Alan Smothers among those who'll be out there hitting the traditional first tee shots for this long-standing golf tournament?
I think that'd be great. He could actually, because he does morning radio, he could actually broadcast his show from the first tee box and, whack one down the fairway. Be great.
Well, I doubt it goes down the fairway. But I bet you he'd have a cigar in his mouth and he'd be wearing Bermuda shorts.
Oh, there's no doubt about that last part for sure.
Would be my guess. All right, couple of other things, and we'll get to your phone calls. 888-898-2525 is the number. South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number for you here on Sports Talk. We had some congressional action today about NIL. Congressman Russell Fry of South Carolina and Congressman Barry Moore of Alabama introduced the Protect the Benefits for Athletes and Limit Liability Act.
You can tell it's election year, can't you?
Absolutely. Today they introduced this. This legislation addresses the onslaught of litigation universities and conferences face relating athletes' ability to receive compensation based on NIL. This language provides a legal safe harbor for universities, conferences, the NCAA to allow them to provide new benefits for the athletes, establish and enforce rules, and comply with the law without the constant risk of costly litigations. The athletes, they write, deserve compensation for the use of their NIL. The act is intended to accompany broader legislation establishing a national framework that secures athletes' rights to receive compensation and sets a federal standard with guardrails in place. So I take from this probably good stuff. I know we joke about these people getting involved in this. They got, in the case of Russell Fry, they got bigger fish to fry. Hello. But they've got to do something on the national scene. You can't have it state by state from a competitive standpoint. There's got to be national rules, national guidelines, national guardrails that oversee all of this and govern it all for everybody, so everybody is playing out of the same rule book, don't you think?
I agree. But the last people they need to be dealing with are senators and congressmen from Washington, D.C., but I get it. It's got somebody, they're going to have to. I just know they'll mess it up. They've proven that time and time again. You let the government get involved with anything and they screw it up. But I do find it fascinating that we sit on the back end of a legislative session and all of a sudden these NIL deals start coming out. And it's fairly obvious. Part of the reason is it's an election year and they want to be able to campaign on this and say, look, I'm going to bat for my states and my state schools because I love the Gamecocks and I love the Tigers and I love the Chanticleers and I want to do X, Y, and Z as much as I can. So don't forget about me in November.
That's right.
It's about as transparent as it can possibly be.
And who's going to get mad at him for this? I mean, really,
exactly.
This is a bipartisan. It should be bipartisan. It should be by everything as far as the colleges are concerned. Everybody should be on board with this, as we have to accept the world of NIL and compensation. But there's got to be some kind of regulation. There's got to be a plan. There's got to be some limits. There's got to be some guardrails, et cetera, et cetera.
But this is where an NCAA should be setting this up, governing body of sports, not the government of the United States.
But I think the problem is they don't have the power. I don't think
you're right.
They don't have the antitrust protections to just make these rules like the pro leagues do. They have these exemptions. Now, if Congress gave the NCAA antitrust exemption protection, I sound like a lawyer, don't I? If they gave it to the NCAA, then they could make their rules. But they don't have that. So there you go. All right, let's go to Gamecock Larry. Get some phone calls rolling tonight. Got a great show ahead. Gamecock Larry is just going to add to it. Welcome in, Gamecock Larry. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Oh, I tell you what, I done messed up and missed the last 2 days.
Yeah.
Slept through your show, slept through the baseball game. I don't know what's going on. I know, I guess I'm getting old, but that's okay.
I was worried about you.
Well, I know you worry about it. I tell you, there you go again, picking on me.
That was Josh. That was Josh, not me.
Yeah, I can't blame that.
And he was being sincere.
Yeah.
Okay.
I really wasn't concerned because I knew you would be back. I wasn't concerned at all.
Oh, you done got me mixed up. I done forgot what I was going to say now. But I'm back. I hope I can stay back. Hope I can do good, but I'm all right. Oh, yeah, I know. I don't know. Well, I don't know. But I want to, invite 100.7 Mr. Fields, Josh, Chris, and all, if you're there, down this way in Swansea Saturday to have a few minutes, stop by and say hello and grab a rib. And
I love to grab a rib. That's all you got to say to me is grab a rib.
I know it's a busy weekend, Darlington, Mother's Day. I know all that, but like I say, that's the only time. I don't know what they're doing, but that's what they say. They want to.
Oh, Ron wanted me to tell you that he was trying to get the cheerleaders to come down, but he wasn't able to get that done. So don't look for. Was he doing high school cheerleaders or Clemson cheerleaders?
He was doing the Clemson cheerleaders, is what he said. And he also anticipated having a few coaches coming as well.
Not going to happen.
Well, I got the Gamecocks cheerleaders. They coming over. They're going to be here.
That's all you need, Larry. That's all you need. Hey, thanks. We got to run to the break. I'm sure we'll hear from you tomorrow. Have a great night. Be back in a moment.
She is the track too tough to take.
The Lady in Black. She's got a thing for tradition, a hankering for history, and she sure likes a good challenge. Well, when Throwback Weekend comes to town, she'll get exactly what she wants and play extra hard to get.
These guys are going to have their hands full.
Shall we dance? The official Throwback Weekend of NASCAR, May 10th through the 12th. Get your tickets now at darlingtonraceway.com.
All right, we're SportsTalk Media Network across the state of South Carolina. Phil Kornbluth, Josh Cohen here in Columbia, and over in Sardis, not far from Darlington, where things are picking up. Chris Bergen.
Yeah, by the track today. As a matter of fact, looks
How'd
nice.
She
They
look?
look like
How'd
they're
she
ready to go.
Smell? How'd she look and smell and feel?
Well, the smells aren't quite there yet. Not enough people around to be grilling and that type of thing. Most of the camping lots and the like outside the track now didn't drive inside the facility. I know there are some RVs that parked yesterday, but for the most part, the majority of the outdoor parking venues have not started to fill up. My guess is by late tomorrow on into Thursday, prior to the truck race on Friday, it'll get extremely busy over that way.
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. Now, speaking of Darlington, we have got 2 excellent tickets in the Pearson Grandstand, the Pearson Tower, in excellent location to watch the race. We've got 2 tickets to paradise. No, 2 tickets to Darlington. Remember that song, 2 Tickets to Paradise?
I do.
Yeah. I don't know why I break into song so often these days. You notice how I break into song when something pops in my head? I'm just trying to be hip and cool.
You know, I saw something online that that happens to the elderly a lot.
I was thinking first sign of senility, but
Yeah.
okay, go ahead.
Something to ponder. Anyway, and you're not eligible, Josh. We've got 2 tickets to Sunday's race at Darlington. We've cleared the lines, pretty much. 888-898-2525. We're going to do the old trivia question. The trivia question is this, and I've got to have the exact answer. Okay, got to have the exact answer. So, up until last Sunday at Kansas, Darlington had the record for the closest finish ever in a NASCAR Cup race. I need to know what that measurement was, how close it was.
Ooh,
at
I know.
I know you know. I know you know.
And I don't need tickets, so I'll lay out on this one.
You're not eligible. Family and
that too.
Staff are not eligible.
Too.
But I need to know the exact figure between Ricky Craven and Kurt Busch. If you know that, you want the 2 tickets. If you know it and you don't want the tickets, then, keep it to yourself. But if you want the tickets and you want to take a shot at the answer, feel free to give us a call. 888-898-2525. 888-898-2525. As we go to Tiger Bryan next with us here on Sports Talk. Tiger Bryan, welcome in. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. We just had a little thunderstorm and all. I hope everybody's good and safe, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Come through here.
Yeah.
Man, I was fishing this morning, and them cicadas things, man, they were screaming their heads off this morning at 7:30. I was brim fishing. I mean, dang. Yeah.
Does it make it more difficult to catch the fish when those varmints are making noise?
No, it don't bother me, Corn. I'll be steady fishing now. I'm a serious fisherman now.
Right. Yeah. I understand.
I'm a big BSer, but I'm a serious fisherman.
Now let me ask you this. Now, is it just you and the fish going one-on-one, or do you use things like a depth finder and sonar and things like that to look for the fish?
No, I don't do depth finder. Okay. Most time Miss Tiger Brown out fishes me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's got the
happy wife, happy life, you know what I mean?
I
I'll give her all the good rods.
So she's got the knack. She's got the knack for dropping the line.
Yeah, she catch them. Oh, she catch them now. She just won't take. When they biting, I'll let her. I'm a pool boy at the house, grass cutter and all that. But when fishing, I'm a fish boy. I take fish off. Yeah, but we catch and release. We don't eat.
Yeah. You keep some of them, don't you?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah. Faithful inside.
What was it like for you? I remember what it was like for me the first time I gutted a fish. Now, what was it like for you the first time you cut that fish right down the middle and you ran your finger right, pulled out all his guts and you cut off the head and scaled him and all that? What was that like for you?
I was about 4 or 5 years old because I was raised, fishing and hunting and everything else, But you ever gutted a deer?
No, sir.
You don't hit the belly sack. That thing comes out.
I've killed 2 deer, with 2 different cars, but when it comes to hunting deer with a car, I'm pretty good.
Yeah, well, my wife was too. Miss Tiger Brown, she's in here about 7 of them.
Has she really? Holy cow!
Yeah. Well, she worked at the Cobb nuclear plant 30 years from, an hour and a half away. You know me?
She worked at the nuclear. Your wife worked at the nuclear plant.
Yeah, it's Cobb nuclear plant, Duke Power. Yeah, I ain't married no damn poor woman now.
Well, I'm just going to say, does she glow in the dark? Or, she got anything?
Yeah, sometimes. I made it glow sometimes.
Oh. Hello.
You stepped in that one now.
Oh,
yeah. But no. Hey, what about my golf girls now? Clemson golf girls. They what, in second place?
Yeah, they finished second in their region.
Yeah, well. What's the next region we got to go to?
Now you go to the national championship out in I think it's Carlsbad, California.
Yeah. My girls are coming on now.
That was a great tournament for them. Yeah, great tournament.
That was. And I tell you what, I'm glad Beamer finally named a quarterback because you know what? If you have that, if this, if that, you need to name your quarterback. I don't care what team you're playing for. And give confidence in the whole team. You know what I mean? They could be behind him.
Yeah,
I'm
totally.
not a Clemson. I'm a Clemson man. You know what I mean? But
I think it was pretty much a done deal coming out of spring practice after the spring game. Everybody knew who it was going to be. He just had to put the words to it. But he also said there'll be competition continuing in fall camp. He just wants to keep everybody on edge a little bit.
That's right. Well, and because these kids now, the way you call it the Porta John portal, you know what I mean?
Yep.
They'll jump ship in a minute, and which is over now. They can't jump ship now until next time, Andy.
That's right. It's closed right now.
Yeah. So
you're stuck with what you got. You're stuck with what
they need. They need to do something about that, like you said.
Well, now hang on a second because. I know the window is closed right now, so I guess like the player from South Carolina who announced, or it was reported by Matt Zenitz, that he's in the portal. I thought that window to enter was closed. I have to go back and look at my calendar for football and see, maybe he plans to do that when the next window opens. That's probably going to be the case.
Well, and my baseball team's playing lights out. So I don't know what day it is, really.
Yep. They're getting through it. I still, and we got to run. Thank you very much. The football window opened on April 16th and closed on April the 30th. So I got to see when it reopens. I guess later in the year. I guess. What do you think, Chris? You have any idea on this?
Not a clue, unless he had already entered the portal and they just found his name.
Could have been. I don't know how they go.
There's so many guys in
these
there.
These guys check the portal entry by entry every stinking day.
Well, you would think so, yeah, no doubt.
So I don't understand. I'm a little bit confused. I don't understand, but maybe that's what happened. All right, thank you, Tiger Bryan. Let's continue with the phone calls. And if you want to take a shot at the trivia question to win 2 tickets to Darlington, great seats. We don't mess around on Sports Talk. We're not giving you crap, okay? You're getting seats that you would love to have, okay? You got my word on that. I need to know what was the distance in the closest finish ever in a NASCAR Cup race up until Sunday at Darlington, 2003, Craven and Busch. What was the measured difference between the two in seconds? Got to know the exact number, exact figure. If you can tell us that, you win the tickets. We go to Chuck in Florence next with us on Sports Talk. Welcome in, Chuck.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, we're terrific. How are you?
Doing well. Was the guy I know I got to answer the trivia question, but was the guy a graduate transfer? Because if he was, he could enter the portal that time at any time.
Oh,
Great
good point. Good point.
I just don't know if he's a graduate transfer.
He might be. He might be. That's a good point.
Yeah, some of them they said that had already entered. I guess they must not have entered their name. It must have told the school or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's one of those guys. I'm not sure. But let's get to the trivia question because I listen to y'all's buddy all the time, and I hope he's right. I'm on there all the time with the bad boy. Yeah, it should be 3/100,000ths of a second.
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir.
No, he's wrong then. Okay. Well, I tried.
Thank you.
I appreciate y'all's time, guys.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Try again.
Close. So close.
And yet so far away. So
and yet
close,
not anywhere near at all.
So close and yet so far away. Let's go to Sam in Darlington. Oh, right there in Darlington. I guess Sam goes to all the races. Sam, welcome in to Sports Talk. How are you?
Hey, now.
Hey.
When they drop the green flag, my windows vibrate.
I love it. How close do you live to the track?
Well, actually, my brother lives about 2.5 miles from the track, and I'll often go over there with him and watch the race. And like I say, when they drop that green flag, boy, the windows vibrate.
I've told people, if you've never been to a race, you got to go one time at least just to experience the rolling thunder, the rolling earthquake. That's a restart.
There are two really cool opportunities in NASCAR. One is when they come out of turn 4 at Daytona, headed towards the line, just to feel the power at Daytona of guys going 190 miles an hour. And turn 1 at Darlington, standing on the photo tower in the turn when they start the race. The best place to watch a race. We can't stay up there long, but I mean that's at the beginning of the race. There is nothing quite like it. TV, for those of you who have never been to a NASCAR race, TV doesn't do it justice. No. They do a great job with the coverage. They just can't translate the sound
or the smell
that Darlington does.
You know, way back in the day before everything got restricted, I would go cover the race at Darlington, and I would go and stand. I could climb up the hill on what is now 3 and 4. I guess back then it was 1 and 2. It's now 3 and 4. But I would climb up that hill and stand right there at the wall. I would stand right at the wall, and I could feel the rubber coming off the tires. I would walk away. I'd have rubber all over me from coming off the tires. How cool was that? I mean, I really felt like I was right there in the race. I like to get as close to the wall when you could. Now they don't let you get that close. I like to get as close to the wall as I could back in those days. I'd sit on the inside wall on what is now the backstretch. I would sit on that inside wall that separates what used to be a pit road from the track. I'd sit on that inside wall, and the cars would be going right past us. You could almost reach out and touch them. They don't let you do that now, of course, lawsuits and everything. What else you got? Sam, you taking a shot at the trivia question?
Yep. I could have Googled it, but
no, don't cheat. Let's be honest.
Absolutely.
Let's be human intelligence here for once.
I'm gonna guess. Let me tell you a quick Darlington story.
Go ahead.
First time I went to the race, probably 15 years ago. I wanted to go to the race. I had a buddy that supposedly worked at the track and was going to hook us up with some tickets. And at the last minute, he didn't show up. So we went to the ticket window, and my wife and I, and wanted to go to the race. And they said, "Well, we got a few seats left." I said, "I don't care where it is. I want 2 tickets." So they were on the very front row. and you couldn't see anything. The heat was tremendous, and we stuck it out for the race, and when we got done and went out, people were laughing at us, and I didn't know why until we looked in the mirror, and we looked like a raccoon, with the little the area around our eyes where where our sunglasses were. Everything else was black, and my wife was so upset, and I just laughed at her, and which made it more upsetting to her. But anyway, I'm going to guess 1/1300th of an inch.
13. Well, the measurement is in seconds, so
1/1300th of a second.
Yeah, unfortunately, that would not be correct. Not be correct. Okay. But thank you very much. Appreciate you trying. Yes, sir. And great hearing. Love your stories. Thank you for calling. We appreciate it. All right, we're going to hit the break, and we'll come back with more. We'll continue to take your answers to the question until we get a winner. Now, if you happen to win, do not hang up. If you happen to win, do not hang up, because Josh will get your phone number and your email address, because everything is digital. We have to send it to you, and we'll do that pronto. You'll have it in plenty of time. The question is, what was that measurement for the closest race in NASCAR history at Darlington up until this past Sunday between Craven and Kurt Busch in 2003? Back in a moment.
Calling all turkey hunters, this is Major Billy Downer with the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Turkey season is coming soon. The most common accident while turkey hunting is failing to identify your target. Know the identifying features of a turkey. Make sure of your target and what lies beyond it before you pull the trigger. Remember, safe hunting is no accident. For more information on hunter education, visit dnr.sc.gov.
Relax. Winter is finally over. It's time to get ready for a season of adventure. Escape the ordinary and get out on the road with an auto loan from Founders Federal Credit Union. From city streets to off-road trails, your journey begins here. Our low fixed rates can get you on the road in a ride that fits your lifestyle and budget, featuring no payments for up to 90 days. You can apply early for a pre-approved spending limit before you even start shopping. Let a Founders representative be your trusted advisor to make sure your purchase makes sense for you and your finances. Ask for a free auto insurance quote for a personalized plan to protect your purchase. Founders also offers mechanical breakdown protection that is competitive with most warranty plans available at dealerships. Head over to one of our 40 convenient office locations or visit foundersfcu.com to apply for an auto loan today or to see if you qualify for membership with Founders. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
Stay tuned. More Sports Talk is coming up on the Sports Talk Media Network.
She is the track too tough to take.
The lady in black. She's got a thing for tradition, a hankering for history, and she sure likes a good challenge. Well, when Throwback Weekend comes to town, she'll get exactly what she wants and play extra hard to get.
These guys are going to have their hands full.
Shall we dance? The official Throwback Weekend of NASCAR, May 10th through the 12th. Get your tickets now at darlingtonraceway.com.
You've put in the work for your education. The extra early, extra late, extra work. That's because you understand education opens doors to better pay, better opportunities, and a better you. Being educated about playing the lottery is no different. It helps you be a better player, one who knows when to play and when to take a rain check. The lottery's a game, so let's keep it fun. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Hey, if you haven't made that phone call yet to Jimmy Smith at James Smith Realty to get yourself booked in a great place, a house or a condo for your summer vacation, make that call in the morning. Heck, make it right now. He'll take your call. 843-237-4246. Beautiful Myrtle Beach, beautiful Garden City, beautiful Surfside, beautiful Pawleys, beautiful Litchfield. They all await you. Go east, young man. and lady. But you better do it now because you won't get exactly what you're looking for at the price you want if you don't get it done. Paulie'sVacationRentals.com, or just give Jimmy a call, 843-237-4246. Jimmy's the nicest guy in the world. He will give you the Gamecock shirt off his back. He is a big Gamecock. He'll give you the Gamecock shirt off his back to help shade you from the sunburn that you're going to get when you get to the beach, okay? So take care of that right away. Again, the phone number is 843-237-4246.
I didn't know this. I just looked it up after you said 842. That area code not in use, but it is assigned to South Carolina. So if we ever run out of phone numbers here along the Grand Strand and Low Country, we might get an 842 area code.
Maybe I have predicted something in the future.
You may have spoken it into existence.
It's like when I mistakenly wrote a few weeks ago that Will Tippett was out for the season instead of the weekend. You know, he hasn't played since then. So if he doesn't play, if he doesn't play the rest of the season, technically I would have been correct. So I will go back and I will recorrect my correction. If he doesn't,
he's going to have a hard time getting back in that lineup, but only because of his bat. I mean, certainly defensively, he's worthy of playing and starting every game.
Yeah,
but they've found a lineup where they can score 10 runs a contest. Again, I'm not sure if I'm Mark Kingston, I tamper with it anymore.
Okay, we go back to the phones. We're going to line 1 first. Is that right?
No, we're going to line 4.
All right, Wes in Rock Hill, up to Rock Hill. Wes, welcome into Sports Talk. How are you?
I'm doing good. How y'all doing?
We're doing great. It's great to have you with us.
Awesome. All right, I'm going to go ahead and give my guess. I know it was really, really close. It's .002 seconds. Is that not correct?
Bingo.
Hey.
We have a winner. That's it. Thank you very much, studio audience. .002. And, Chris, what was it Sunday at Texas?
At Kansas.
Kansas.
.001. And then at Atlanta, was it not .003?
At where?
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, at Atlanta.
Yeah.
Earlier in the year.
They had a real close one. Yeah, yeah. By the way, the bad boy, Alan Smothers, sent us a text message saying that caller was wrong, that he never said what the caller said he said as far as the time. He's always said the correct time because we know the bad boy does not make mistakes.
Good craftsman never blames his tools, Alan.
All right, so, Wes, congratulations, man. You have got 2 fabulous tickets to the Goodyear 400 coming your way. What's your reaction? What is your reaction to that? What is your reaction?
I'm excited. I can't wait. I've never been to Darlington. Been to Charlotte a bunch of times. I've never been to Darlington. So, and I really enjoy the show, man. Listen, I stream y'all, so I can't even hear myself because I stream y'all, every night. So I enjoy it, man. Thank y'all.
Well, we thank you. Of course, you can get us right there in Rock Hill on WRHM 107.1.
I do, but a lot of times they play the Gamecock games, and I'm Tiger. I'm not. I know we got Tiger Bryan, but I'm Tiger West.
Tiger West.
I ain't listening to no Gamecock game.
I hear you. Well, you hang on, and friendly Josh will get your email, and then you look for an email from us later tonight, and you'll have your tickets.
Hey, thank y'all so much. I enjoyed the show. Thanks.
Thank you, pal. Appreciate you playing along.
Thank you.
I can't believe, Chris, it took so long to get a winner, but we appreciate all the phone calls and people trying to get in.
No, it turned out to be a really good question. I thought it'd be a first caller, first get, but yeah.
And I really think, and I want to congratulate everybody. Now, I don't know what Wes did, but it sounded like people tried to answer it based on their own knowledge and not going to Google.
Yep.
That's why they were
Good for
wrong.
them.
That's why they missed it. Lesson learned, people. Go to Google before you try to answer a trivia question if you want to win. But we appreciate Chuck and Sam and Wes and Raven and Charles. Those are the ones that got through to have a shot at it. And congratulations to Wes for pulling out there at the very end. So glad to send a good racing fan to. And how about this? His first trip to Darlington. How about that?
Yeah, that's great. That is outstanding. And those of you who are already in Darlington, and if you're out at the racetrack, I hope your umbrella is working because we are getting hammered right now by thunderstorm. And again, I live, 20 miles from the track as the crow flies. So, yeah, it's going to be a little damp out there tonight, it appears.
infield's going to be quite the scene.
So be safe
by this weekend, I would say. All right, we'll hit the break. Be back in a moment.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Good to have you with us on this Wednesday night. Congratulations once again to Wes and Rock Hill, who won the 2 tickets to Darlington. He's going to have a blast. It's raining cats and dogs here in Columbia. It's raining pigs and elephants in Darlington and Sardis, right? Really coming down?
Lining up 2 by 2 as we speak, as a matter of fact.
And Phil, I don't know if you can hear it, but
turn
it
2.
is getting really, really loud.
Yeah.
I mean, it's yeah.
I hear it coming down like really loud. Absolutely. But we shall soldier on here on Sports Talk as long as the electronics holds up. Coming up at 7:35, College of Charleston coach Chad Holbrook will join us. We'll talk about the great season the Cougars are putting together. But right now we talk some hoops with one of the outstanding high school basketball coaches ever in the state of South Carolina, who announced yesterday that he is retiring after over 40 years at Irmo High School. We welcome to Sports Talk Coach Tim Whipple. And, Coach, good evening, sir. How are you? How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. It's been a hectic couple days, but everything's going well.
Well, I wanted to ask you, now that it's public, came out yesterday, you told your team, how do you feel the day after? What are the emotions like?
Well, it is. It's been a bit overwhelming for sure, and this is. I guess people might retire several times. I certainly don't plan on that. So when you do something once in a lifetime, it's not an easy thing to do. So I have no reservations, but at the same time, I know this is not going to be something that I'm going to be able to just brush on by. You don't do something your entire life and then it'd be easy just to stop it and everything's going to be fine.
I understand. I mean, I think about you from your days in high school in Columbia, and then you go to Erskine, where you're a standout there playing with Red Myers, and then you get into the coaching world at a very early age and quickly work your way up into the ranks. And, 40 years goes by in a flash, doesn't it?
Well, unfortunately, yes. but obviously there's a whole lot of unbelievable memories, and certainly, like many, I'll take that into my retirement.
For sure. What are, besides the championships and all the wins and some of the great players, the players that you sit on to play college basketball, what are some of the top memories for you?
I think, and it's not something that I say lightly. Obviously, if you have a career and you don't have a whole lot of success in that career, then that kind of puts you in a situation where you don't have a good taste in your mouth. So I am grateful for the career and success that we were able to have. But when it gets down to it, it's the relationships that you have with people. And I think that's the hardest thing about retirement. It's not the act of doing what you do, whatever that job is. It's the people and the relationships and getting. I have had the opportunity for over 43 years, just as the head coach at Irmo, 43, to meet young men, women, parents, administrators, in-state, out-of-state, just had an unbelievable opportunity to grow and nurture relationships. And I think that's when it's all said and done, that's what you remember, the friendships that you developed for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. Visiting with Tim Whipple, that kind of career, that's Phil Savage like. That's John McKissick like. I just think about coaches who had extended runs at one school. Was there ever a time in your career where you were tempted to go to another high school or maybe take on a college job somewhere?
There was a couple situations that came over the years that intrigued me, and but there's a reason. Irmo High School is certainly a little different now than it was back in 1980 when I started, but at the same time, it is an unbelievable place to work, and the support that I've had is what's kept me there the whole time, and certainly having some pretty good players has helped along the way as well. But it's just so many good memories. I would never dream of working anywhere else, and wouldn't have changed a single thing.
Well, I mean, yeah, the list of outstanding players that you coached, is long, and I don't want to single out anybody at the expense of anybody else, but
yeah.
I will throw the name B.J. Mackey out there, and your days coaching him and watching him grow and develop to become not just a great high school player, great college player, pro player, and now a college coach. What do you remember about your days with B.J. Mackey?
You don't win championships if you don't have great players. I mean, you have to have them. I mean, there's no doubt about that. You can only do so much, but BJ is without a doubt at the top of the list of many players that I've been fortunate enough to coach. Just totally driven as a player, a pleasure to be around. Worked every single day. His family is absolutely incredible. I actually talked to his son Justin today on the phone, and was excited to hear that he's doing well. And BJ, the exact same work ethic that he had as a player, he did as a student. He went into college, his professional career overseas, and then as an assistant coach, which he's done here in the last part of his life, he's had that same work ethic, and that's why he is successful. And all the people around him have a better chance of being successful when he's there. I love BJ and his whole family.
Sure.
Phil tried to avoid having to single out players, Coach, so I'm going to do it as well. If B.J. Mackey is number one on your list, how far down is Marvin Orange?
Well, I didn't say he was number one. I said he was definitely at the top of the list. You can have a number of players at the top of your list. Marvin's one of the kind as well. I think one of the big thrills I had was just recently I was inducted into the Irmo High School Athletic Hall of Fame, and beside me sat Marvin Orange and Pat Marshall. And it was just a wonderful experience for me to have those two young men with me. I mean, just outstanding, not only players but people. And I've been extremely fortunate.
Legendary Irmo High School boys basketball coach Tim Whipple with us here tonight on Sports Talk, announced his retirement after 43 years of coaching yesterday. And, Coach, one thing I've admired watching your career from afar, I did not grow up in South Carolina, but I was telling Phil last night, one of the first names I heard in terms of high school basketball when I moved in the state was yours. And the consistency, I think, to me really sticks out of your career because you won a state championship, at least one in 4 different decades. When you look back and reflect on your career, how were you as consistently good as you were, considering you're at a high school where you can't necessarily recruit players to come in and play your style, if you will?
Yeah, that is. I think obviously you have to be really, really driven. I think I've said many times that I hate losing more than I enjoy winning. I have always been driven, and hopefully I've done, allowed or put my players in a situation where they are as driven as I am. But it is, I don't wish the way I am because I have a hard time enjoying things. It's always about what's next. It's always the next day. It's always the next season. I have a hard time enjoying the moment of what happens. And I say that's a blessing and curse. I think that's one of the reasons that we have been consistently successful over such a long period of time is that I always kept my athletes looking or living in the moment and getting better every single day and encouraged and put them in a situation where they could be successful and figuring out what the best thing to do was. And because I was so just even keeled all the time, there wasn't a lot of highs and lows. And I think young men need that. I think they need to be challenged. They need to be held accountable. They need to understand that they're a part of a team and each one of them has a role. And if they fulfill that role, you can be successful. And then as a coach and the coaching staff, we worked hard to figure out what was the best thing we needed to do every year. We made adjustments. We made sure our players had the right attitudes. And I've been fortunate to have those guys that were as driven as I was. And those, just like those three you just mentioned, you know, I mentioned, I guess, BJ, Marvin, Pat Marshall. That's how you win championships.
Mm-hmm. That's well stated. How much of Red Meyer's coaching philosophy did you use during your time at Irmo?
I would not say. I was talking to somebody. I was talking to my assistant the other day, and I said, you know, what I've done my entire career is if I've learned. I've been blessed to work with some unbelievable coaches. Ken Long at Lexington High School years and years ago. Eddie Raines was at Winsboro High School at the time. I played for Red Myers at Erskine College. I played for Lee Cody at Spring Valley. I've been around other coaches, and what you do is you pick out and you figure out the things that you like that those coaches did. But even sometimes more important, you look at the things you didn't like. And I think a lot of times picking and choosing those things to fit your philosophy helps you to grow, helps you to get better, makes you a student of the game all the time. I study the game constantly and was able to draw from those coaches. Red Meyer in particular was a tactician. He was an X and O person. Not every coach I worked for was. Some of them were more people persons and relating to personalities of players and how to deal with players and how to motivate players and how to get the most out of them. But I think what I got more than anything else at Red Myers was a taskmaster that held people accountable, that was just incredibly smart when it came to what you needed to do on the floor and then preparing to do that in practice. If that answered your question.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, it did. Couple more minutes with Tim Whipple. As you leave coaching after 43 years, and you coached a certain way, and you certainly built relationships and leaned heavily onto that. What do you foresee for future coaches, basketball, football, in this new era of coach-player relationship that we have in college and drifting down to high schools? Will future coaches be able to enjoy the same kind of relationships with players that you had throughout your career?
I can answer that simply. No. I think I'm certainly getting out at the right time. I've always liked having my 7th and 8th graders. They're there. I know they're there. I know I can count on them. We can work with them. We can help them to get better. You have a chance to watch them grow and mature and become better basketball players. You don't have that opportunity now. People are leaving all the time. And it makes it extremely hard on coaches. And I think it makes it more businesslike. And I don't think relationships will be that important in the future. It'll be about more being able to recruit talent, maybe keep talent, but to recruit talent and to have a lot of kids not willing to do the things that they need to do and wait for their opportunities, like you saw more over the last 40 years.
Yeah.
So I'm an old school guy. Obviously, I'm 68 years old, and I grew up in a different era than all these guys, and it does take a lot out of the game for me. I don't like all this changing and paying as much as we're paying for these kids, and I'll be quiet now.
Understood. What are you going to do? You're going to go fishing? You're going to go to the beach? What are you going to do?
Well, that's kind of the problem that I have right now. I really don't have any hobbies. I'll hit a golf ball around. I love the beach. I like to read. I'll figure it out. I think I'll be in summer mode here soon, which I'm used to. I've done that for my whole life. But then come August time, I'll stay in summer mode and I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
One way or the other.
Well, sounds like fun. We congratulate you on a fabulous career.
Indeed.
Nobody stays
Indeed.
at one place for 40-something years, and that's just amazing. And everybody respects you, and everybody salutes you for what you've accomplished and the way you handle things throughout your career. We thank you for being with us tonight, and we'll see you somewhere down the road, I'm sure.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for the job you guys do.
Thank you, Tim. Appreciate you, man.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Coach Tim Whipple, retiring basketball coach at Irmo. What a great career. Man, we're losing some great ones left and right.
It's crazy. Like we were chatting last night, 2024, the year of the retirements.
Yes.
But he's so impressive. Just listening to him talk about his philosophy and coaching, and he had over 40 guys, I think, go on to play collegiate basketball. There's a reason for that, and relationships are key.
He cared about his players, each and
No doubt.
every one of them. And that's right. I think that's going to be a challenge for coaches coming up now. Hit the break. Be back in a moment.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. That's the sound of a big hit on you and your car or truck. I've been an attorney for more than 30 years, helping people who get injured in car wrecks and truck wrecks. If you have serious injuries, call Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968, or email me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. That's CORBETT. I don't get paid unless I recover for you. Jim Corbett Attorney, for your best recovery from a big hit, 803-765-2968, or jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
The South Carolina Education Lottery has introduced a new rolling jackpot, and it's big.
How big? Bigger than a striped bass? Reel 'em in.
Way bigger.
Bigger than this world-class golf course? Or
bigger than that.
Even bigger than the Gaffney Peach?
Let's just say with this new rolling jackpot, Palmetto Cash 5 is officially too big to ignore. Palmetto Cash 5 draws nightly, so play today and check if your numbers are winners in the Players Club app or at seeducationlottery.com. Overall odds are 1 in 10. Top prize odds are 1 in 850,668.
Stay tuned. More Sports Talk is coming up on the Sports Talk Media Network.
George Bryant for Tsunami Bar Sports, our inventor, David Abernathy, has always said Tsunami Bar technology allows us to take the training to the grass. Now I know through my sport of golf that natural agility can be converted to athletic ability. And why is this, Tsunami Robbie?
Transferring the training to the grass. This may be the most undervalued characteristic of the Tsunami flexible bar technology. The Tsunami bar action loads and unloads at the concentric and eccentric transition points. This is what we call reversal forces, and the Tsunami bar is the only bar and training device that I know of that can train these reversal forces adequately at speed.
Hey, this is Phil Kornbluth. The Tsunami Bar is a terrific training device, whether you're working on your fitness or your golf game. It's convenient, it's easy to use, and you won't feel beat up afterwards. Be sure to click on the digital ad on SportsTalkSC.com and get 5% off any order using promo code BBB5. Don't wait, order today. All right, thanks to Coach Whipple for being with us here on Sports Talk tonight. Always appreciate it. Time to give you the recruiting report. On this Wednesday, it is brought to you by Seawells, the very best in the catering business. They're not retiring, at least not right now. They're still gung-ho, getting after it every single day, getting fresh vegetables, delicious meats and chicken and fish, all prepared expertly for you, for their daily luncheon buffet, and for you at your big event when you need the very best in the catering business. Josh is looking at the menu. You got something for us?
Yeah, tomorrow's Thanksgiving again. Carved turkey with cornbread dressing, fried fish nuggets, and baked pork chops.
And, of course, Friday. Friday's the big day.
Oh, yeah. Friday we got roast beef Friday. And then we got some southern fried chicken and baked flounder with 4 eyes.
Flounder fresh out of the congaree. Doesn't come any fresher than that. You get it all at Seawells. Make sure you get there for the buffet. You need the best in the catering business. Call Seawells 803-771-7385 online at SeawellsCateringSC.com. Begin with a basketball note. Former USC. Boy, Hank is really smart. Is Hank really smart?
He was on this from the get-go. He said this was going to happen last night.
Former USC signee 6'6" Trent Noah from Kentucky announced a commitment to Kentucky today. So, yeah, new coach Mark Pope looking for bodies, looking for players, and nothing wrong with taking an in-state kid that maybe you can use and develop. Also, College of Charleston signed 6'6" Jackson Prunty from Lexington. Now to football. Clemson paying a look at Clemson giving a look to Nick Moore, who is an offensive lineman. I'm sorry, he's projected as a defensive tackle, but Clemson likes him as an offensive lineman. Clemson offensive line coach Matt Luke stopped by his school, Jefferson County High in Dandridge, Tennessee, to take a closer look, and they are talking. He's got offers from Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Vanderbilt, Indiana, Wake Forest, West Virginia, among others. Defensively last year, he had 40 tackles, 20 for loss, 55 pressures, and 12 sacks. Pretty good defensive lineman. But Clemson, they like him. They looked at the film, and they like him as a potential offensive tackle. They like his overall athletic skills. Not yet offered, but they are talking, and an offer could be coming at some point in time. He says it's great to have Clemson showing interest in him, and he's excited about the potential opportunity there. And an offer would have to come from Dabo Swinney after Moore takes a visit to Clemson, and he hopes to do that the end of this month. He does have official visits set with West Virginia and Vanderbilt. Linebacker Donovan Darden of Havelock, North Carolina, has set an official visit with USC for June 21st. Havelock, North Carolina. That used to be a recruiting hotbed for one Brad Lawing. You know who came out of Havelock, North Carolina, among others?
Not right off the top of my head.
Pharaoh Cooper.
Ah.
Yeah. I remember the first time I heard that name, Pharaoh Cooper. I said, man, that's the coolest name. USC
I just love the way Spurrier used to always say it. Pharaoh.
Pharaoh. Well, how would you say it? It is Pharaoh, isn't it?
Yeah. He just put that little Tennessee twang into it. It just sounded different.
Pharaoh. USC offered defensive tackle Eric Thomas, 6'5", 305, Fort Myers, Florida. Clemson target safety Jordan Young out of Monroe, North Carolina, has set October 10th for his commitment announcement. USC target linebacker Zayden Walker has set his commitment announcement for July 5th. We mentioned USC defensive tackle Drew Twizama is in the transfer portal John once again after the Gamecocks plucked him from the portal John last year. Wonder how you feel, and that's it for recruiting. I mean, I know players come and go. I wonder if coaches have any feeling of like we failed this kid, or we blew it in our appraisal of this kid when they come in out of the portal, John, and they make no contribution to your program. Like you just wasted money, scholarship money, and everything else on a transfer. I mean, when you take a transfer, I mean, you should be darn certain they're going to help you and play, not just, be a backup and sit on the bench and then leave you after a year. Doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, and it probably hurts even worse than a high school senior that you recruit and bring in and doesn't contribute because you're right. A portal transfer player has got to be able to contribute right off the bat.
One would think. Okay, we'll hit the break. Chad Holbrook coming up on the other side. Be right back. The sweet tunes of the College of Charleston Fighting Cougars fight song, or something like that. We welcome Cougar baseball coach Chad Holbrook. I'm going to ask him if he knows the words to the College of Charleston fight song. I won't put him on notice like that. Welcome in, sir. How are you? Hope your dinner went well tonight.
Yeah, I'm good, Phil. Things are good here in Charleston. Yeah, as baseball coaches, we play on Sundays, so figured we'd celebrate Mother's Day tonight. And but I'm happy to take a break and talk to you. I'm really thrilled that you called about our team.
Well, thank you. Tell the missus we appreciate that as always. And you guys are having a great year. I think you've won something like 20 of 22, 34-11, 16-4 in the league. This team surprised you with where it is right now?
Well, I thought we had a chance to have a good team. What scared me was, the loss of so many valuable innings thrown by last year's pitching staff, and you've seen those perform this year. Trey Poozer is the Friday night pitcher at Kentucky, Friday night starter, and obviously Ty Good at South Carolina was our pitcher of the year last year in our league. And those are two really, really good pitchers that we lost. So we had some unanswered questions, and then we went into the preseason and we lost probably, our All-American type closer. I mean, one of the best pitchers in our league. We lost him to an elbow injury. So when you factor in that we lost Trey Poozer, Ty Good, and Cole Mathis from being able to help us pitch, would I have signed up to being where we are right now, 34-11 and 16-4? Absolutely. Well, that being said, we do have good players and they've performed well, and our pitching staff has probably surprised me a bit with how well they've done.
I was going to ask you about the pitching because the staff ERA is really good, 3.84. I think everybody would sign up for something like that. You've limited home runs allowed, which I think is quite a testament to your pitching staff. What's been the key there with that? Have some guys just overachieved, or what would you point to?
Well, some guys have stepped up, and some guys that were unproven or recruits, or a couple freshmen and a couple junior college transfers have really pitched well for us. They're talented. We just didn't know. It was like the fear of the unknown. We hoped they were good, but till you see it on your field on game day, you never really know. But they've really pitched well. Our ERA obviously has been among the top 10 ERAs in the country all year long, and that's a credit to our pitching staff and our pitching coach Will Dorton. And we've had a great year on the mound so far, but we got some very important games in front of us as well.
Well, I want to ask you about that because, Chris Bergen and I were talking earlier this week about your situation, and you're having a great year, but you're in a league where most likely only one of you will advance, and that'll be the team that wins that conference tournament championship. Is that kind of how you view it right now, or can the CAA possibly get two in there if it comes to you and Wilmington there at the end, perhaps?
Yeah, I think our league right now has in fact, and hearing from D1 baseball, they think we're going to get two bids this year. You never know. Obviously they don't know, but I think it looks good that we might get two teams. I hope that's us, but we got to play well down the stretch. But at this level, it is what it is. You can only play the games that are on your schedule and do the best you can, and you really don't have much control over RPI and that sort of thing. You just try to win the next game, and our players have done a pretty good job of that so far. And I hope we'll play well at the end and get rewarded with the postseason bid. That would be really cool.
Sure.
College of Charleston head baseball coach Chad Holbrook with us here tonight on Sports Talk. And Coach, in your illustrious coaching career, have you ever had a player to have quite the perfect week that Avery Neves did, your outfielder who was named Coastal Athletic Association Player of the Week after going 8 for 8, and all of his hits against Towson were for extra bases? A remarkable week for him. Have you had a player even come close to touching that before?
Christian Walker had a few great weekends like that when we were in South Carolina.
Sure.
He had some like that. But 8 for 8, you can't do much better than Avery did. And he actually won his last at bat on one of his 4-hit days. He needed a single for the cycle, but he hit a ball down the line that he stretched into a double. So that's the kind of kid he is. We had the game in check, and he could have easily stopped at first for the cycle, but he chose not to. And that's just, it was kind of cool to watch that, to be honest with you, because there wasn't any cheap hits. They were all extra base hits, and he squared them all up. And I was well deserving of our conference player of the week for sure.
He's a transfer into your program. When you watched him and possibly thought about bringing him in, clearly this was what you were hoping to get out of him, right?
Yeah, he was the national champion at Lynchburg, and they won the national championship in his division, GA-wise. We knew he was a good offensive player, and it was a connection to the program there, and he performed at a very, very high level. And we got some other guys that have performed pretty good as well. I think we got 3 or 4 guys, close to double-digit home runs, and so we're doing all right in the power department down here, and a big part of that is Avery. But he brings so much more than just power. He's a tough kid, runs through a brick wall for you, competes. Coach's dream. He's one of those guys.
Phil was asking you earlier, Coach, about the prospects of the CAA possibly getting 2 in. Certainly love to see that because I think both you and Wilmington deserve a bid to the NCAA. With your schedule, even if you didn't beat all the teams that you scheduled, like, say, Nebraska, you went to Marshall and took some games from them to open up the season. Actually had them come to your place. But, with your schedule, do you feel like you, at least non-conference-wise, helped yourself enough to be in that discussion?
Well, you can only do what you can do from a non-conference standpoint. And that's not one of the things that the RPI is not, a true indicator. But it's also you can argue that it's not fair to a mid-major team. So some of us are, financially restricted with how far we can travel to, and budgetarily restricted financially with, the travel budgets that we have. And a lot of mid-majors can't play all the teams that we want to play. I can tell you I want to play all the Power Fives that we can locally, in our state, and even Georgia and North Carolina. And sometimes the schedule works out to do that. We're going to play at Duke next week. They're a top 10 team. And obviously we had Nebraska in earlier, and they're having a really good year as well. So we try to play who will play us, and we'd love to play as many Power Fives as we can. But that being said, have we done enough? We're 34-11, and I think we won 21 of 23, and we put ourselves in a good spot. So it's good to be in the conversation, but a lot of it, when you're at our level, you have to finish strong, and I hope our kids will do that.
Well, I think it was just a couple of years ago where you had the great regular season, but then it didn't go well for you in the tournament, and you ended up staying home. Right. Do you think about that, and as you think of the upcoming CAA, which will be in Wilmington, of course, of all places? Have you thought about how you're going to handle things, knowing that maybe possibly it's just going to come down to who wins that tournament based on the experience you had a couple of years ago in that situation? Right.
Yeah, again, the postseason is like we're all at our level in our league based on the history and being a 1-bid or a 2-bid league team. We're in our postseason right now with the importance of the games, and and that's just kind of how we treat it. We have Northeastern, who's in the conversation of being that large team as well this weekend. And honestly, it's going to be 2 great mid-major teams going at each other. And that's really cool, for our league, and certainly a heck of a challenge for us. And so we're excited about that. But where our mindset's a little bit different than thinking about getting a bid. It's more like trying to go 1-0 because in our minds, we're already in our pro season. And hopefully, the feather, the icing on the cake, so to speak, will be an NCAA tournament bid.
Absolutely. And I know you could care less where they put you, but I did see one projection a couple of weeks ago where they had you in Columbia playing in that particular regional. Now, if that were to happen, what would that feel like to you?
Well, it would be really cool. It would be a cool deal to come back there for sure. I don't so far down the road. I just hope we get an opportunity to play in the NCAA tournament for sure. But there's a lot of special memories at Founders Park for me, and I got to see some really incredible performances, incredible wins, a lot of celebrations. So that place holds a special place in my heart, and it would be a thrill and an honor to play there, as it would be any regional bid. When you're at our level, you have to fight, scratch, and claw, and like I said earlier, it's good to be in the conversation, but it would be a really cool feather in our cap to be able to get a tournament bid and play in the postseason. But we got to play. We got to play good down the stretch. We don't get any mulligans down here, Phil.
No. Well, I'll say this: you're still prominent on the banners of the national championship teams. You can clearly see Holbrook diving onto the pile. I think you pushed Toman out of the picture, and he's never been the same.
Oh Lord, well, that was it's a moment in time I'll never forget. And I actually had someone at my house today, and we were looking at a picture of me and Scott Wingo when Wingo was 90 feet away from the national championship in 2010, and I still walk by that picture in my house and I get chills. So that's a special place to me, and I love my time there. And man, it was fun to be around some great players and great teams.
Well, listen, good luck moving forward. You guys are on a hot streak, a great roll. I hope it continues for you. Hopefully you'll hear we'll talk to you when you get to a conference tournament and everything will go well. But, hopefully into this month you'll hear that name called out for the NCAA. That'd be really cool for you guys. So best of luck, and thank you for spending some time with us.
Go get them, Coach.
Phil, thank y'all guys for having me, and I hope we can talk in a couple of weeks and celebrate a little bit more. Thanks so much, guys.
Man, look forward to it. Thank you so much. Chad Holbrook, appreciate him being with us and having a great year again at the College of Charleston. They just need to kick through that ceiling, where they
go win that tournament, because I'm looking at the D1 baseball and projections, and he said they are, at least in the conversation, they are right now first four out, and they're on that line with LSU and Louisville, along with California. I don't think you want to leave it up to the committee. No. So go win the tournament and take it out of their hands.
Yeah, I would concur with that. Sticking with baseball, USC coach Mark Kingston met with the media early this afternoon to preview the big series coming up beginning tomorrow night in Columbia, 8 o'clock on ESPN2. They changed the TV station on you. ESPN2, South Carolina, Georgia. It's important. They're tied with the same record for the sixth best record in the SEC, so positioning for the tournament and, of course, postseason hosting consideration, all that up for grabs. Here's a little bit from what Mark Kingston had to say this afternoon.
Mark, I think it's been a popular question throughout the season. How do you pitch to Charlie Condon?
You throw the ball to the backstop and make sure he doesn't steal second base. How about that?
Coach, talk a little about what Garrett Gainey has meant to you guys this year, and how has he improved since he came on campus?
Yeah, he's improved in all kinds of ways. I think both physically, in terms of his mechanics, are as good as they've ever been, which has led to better velocity and more control. He's learned that over the course of the year, early in the season, he was just overpowering people, and then he got into the league and realized he couldn't do that, so he's had to make an adjustment to that, and he's become more of a pitcher as of late, and he's mixing his pitches much more than he was early in the season, so I've seen him evolve there. His velocity's up from where it's been in the past. And I think from a maturity standpoint, he's kind of like a wild bull at times, where you've got to kind of try to teach him how to harness it properly. But you also don't want to take away his emotion and his passion, and you never want to do that as a coach. But I think as a coach, you can also teach him how to really harness it and help him to use it to his advantage. So I think he's improved in a lot of different ways.
Do you have a weekend rotation plan set yet?
We'll go Kimball, Jones, TBA.
Mark, some talk going around. I know you wouldn't talk to the kids about it, but you guys maybe could get your way into a national seed through this end-of-season stretch. Do you have a checklist of things like, this is what we need to do, or do you even look at that as you're preparing for these weekends?
I mean, as a coach, you look at everything possible, but talking about it, belaboring the point brings no value. The only value that a team needs is how to prepare for the next game. And you try to win that game. And then if you do that enough, then those things take care of themselves. They become byproducts. You can't say, I want this or I want that. It doesn't make those things happen. Winning games and then reverse engineering how to win games on that day, that's what gets you where you want to go.
Hey, Mark, it seems like Messina's really been swinging the bat well lately. What have you seen from him at the plate in his at-bats that looks different in his success right now? And then what are you seeing from him behind the plate defensively?
Well, behind the plate defensively, he's been regarded as one of the best in the country all year, and I think that's warranted. He's done a great job of when he gets a chance of controlling the running game. He does a great job with pitch framing when there are borderline pitches. And then offensively, I think his mechanics are just in a really good spot right now. I think he really has locked into where he needs to be and what his thought process needs to be, which leads to the right physical mechanics. And he's just in a really good spot right now, and hopefully that carries on through the end of the season.
I'm not trying to get too much of a scouting report out
Sure
of
you're
you,
not.
but with Condon, does he get himself out, or are there ways for a pitching staff to get him out?
Well, yeah, I'll give you all the secrets, John. Yeah, I mean, I think when you hit 459 with 33 homers, an 1,100 slugging, and an almost 600 on base percentage, yeah, I don't think there's really any way to get him out. There's just not. So you've got to try to minimize his damage. You've got to try to do the best you can of limiting his impact on a game, and that's really all you can do when a guy has those kinds of stats, because those are the kind of stats that would make Barry Bonds blush. It's incredible.
With Georgia's staff, they've kind of come on the last couple of weekends. Finley, Goldstein, those guys. Do anything stick out in tape about Georgia's pitchers and what they're going to bring this weekend?
I mean, it's talented guys that are starting to kind of hit their groove. That's what it comes down to. All year they've been known as a premier offensive team, but pitching-wise, they obviously have made progress as the year's gone on. So I think it's a complete team.
Mark, obviously you switched the lineup recently, get more offense in for defense. How do you think those guys have handled their defensive roles in that new set?
And we're fielding 975 since we kind of shuffled the infield around, which is more than acceptable for the amount of offense we're getting. So as I've said, it's like everything. There's always give and take, but we made the decision that we needed to score more runs than we were. And if that means we had to take a step back defensively, we were willing to make that concession. And I think in the last 8, 9, 10 games, we're averaging close to 10 runs a game. So it's something we'll continue to do until we feel like we can't.
Austin Brindling has just seemed to impact the game so much offensively, defensively with that catch the last 3 series. What did he do around the middle of April to give you the confidence to put him in the starting lineup? And then how proud are you when he goes in there and actually takes advantage of it?
Yeah, very proud. I mean, because he handled the entire process with nothing but class, and so you love when guys that handle their business properly get rewarded by the game. So that's number one. Number two, when he came here, we recruited him because he had really good stats. He had a 500 on base percentage. He hit 386, I think it was last year. So that was a guy that we thought he could be what he's right now. But he came in with a little bit of a hitch in his swing, and it's something that he needed to fix, and him and our coaches worked very hard on that. And you could see in batting practice that it had been starting to get ironed out. And then one day we had a live at-bat session where pitchers that needed some innings and hitters that needed some at-bats went out and they faced each other. And I think it was 6 for 7 that day. And it was just like, and I watched every pitch, and I watched how he took the pitches, and I watched his quality of contact, and like, this guy deserves a shot. I mean, we need a little spark. Maybe this guy will provide that spark, and he sure has. And so you're really happy for him.
I know Condon's the talk of power hitters in college baseball, but what about Petrie and the way he followed up his power from last year with the power this year? I think like over 40 homers in his 2 seasons. Yeah. What's your take on him and maybe his consistency and knowing that pitchers are going to be more aware of him this year?
Well, he's a special player. I don't think I'm breaking any news by saying that he's a special player, but he's evolved over the course of this year. He's had some ups and downs this year, and I think he's learned a lot about what it's like to be the hunted instead of the hunter. Last year, nobody knew who he was. He didn't start opening day, and he just kind of exploded onto the scene. This year, everybody knew who he was, and so he's been pitched differently, and he's had to make some adjustments, and he's had to learn. Against Arkansas, for example, he saw maybe 3 or 4 strikes all weekend, and he got impatient, and he chased outside the zone, and he had a tough weekend. Since that weekend, he's made adjustments. His strike zone discipline has been very, very good, and he's had great success. So I just think with young hitters like him, it's really important that they continue to learn what the game's going to do to them, and then the adjustments they make back. And so I think it's been a really fun process to watch that with him.
All right, that is Mark Kingston. All of it's on our website, sportstalksc.com. Don't forget, if you missed any of the program tonight, everything will be available for you in podcast form. Podcast form. Everybody does a podcast. If you're not doing a podcast, you're just not with it. Now, we don't do podcasts, but we put the show in podcast form. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't do a podcast. I mean, my God, I do 2 hours a night on radio. How much more do you have to do to let people think that you're smart?
Or prove we're not.
Or prove
one
you're
or the
not.
other.
But I don't even listen to podcasts. But I know people. I mean, obviously, people love these podcast networks have cropped up, and people are making money off podcasts. But I'm just saying,
the difference would be.
Let me just say real quick.
Would be, excuse me.
Let me just say real quick. The show is in podcast form, and the bits of the show, like the interviews, they're put in podcast form for you as well. SoundCloud's a great place to go. Spotify's another great place to go. No more Google Podcasts. They did away with that.
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
YouTube.
And it's all merged in. I don't think we're on there quite yet.
Who cares?
We're on Apple Podcasts. So
Spotify and SoundCloud are good enough. What you got, Chris?
Well, the difference would be our show probably translates differently into a podcast form. The only way that sports talk in the podcast form would be is if we did a long-form interview, like, say, with Tim Whipple, turn the 15 minutes we had with him tonight and turn that into an hour feature. And I think that would have been a very good podcast because he's an excellent guest. Same thing with Chad Holbrook. You know, you turn him into a 30-minute, 60-minute deal where you're talking not just baseball but other things going on. That would be the way to do it if we were expanding. I'm not suggesting that we should expand, but I'm just pointing out that that would be the way. It would be just an interview type deal.
Okay.
Yep.
Feel
More
free.
work for us.
Feel free. Feel free. Baseball tonight. How about this? Wake Forest warming up for Clemson. They beat North Carolina A&T in 7, 24-7.
Good grief.
So they got their bats warmed up. Ole Miss is leading Murray State 5-3, top of the 6th. FIU leading Miami 5-4. Unbelievable. Miami is only 8-16 and 21-25 overall. My goodness, they're not going to be happy with their new coach for very long. He better figure it out. They're down to FIU 5-4, bottom of the 5th. Liberty leading Virginia Tech 10-4, and that's in the bottom of the 4th. All right, Major League Baseball. Braves are playing Boston. They beat the Red Sox the other night, and they're winning 4-0 in the middle of the second inning. Texas over Oakland 7-4. Yankees. Oh, I misread this. I was going to skip this because I thought Yankees were losing. I am wrong. Yankees are winning, so I'll mention this. Yankees are winning. I looked at this wrong. Yankees are
Philly,
winning.
perfect fan. I'm with them. Win or tie, baby.
5-1. I tell you, it was a great night for me last night. And I get home, and say hello to the wife and to Winnie. Winnie's not the wife. Winnie's the pup. And have a little something to eat. Watch the Celtics take care of business against Cleveland. And as soon as that game was over, flipped over, caught the end of the Yankees beating Houston, seeing the Celtics win, and then the Yankees win within moments of one another is quite fulfilling for the Corn. Looks like, I tell you, Houston is really bad this year, and the Yankees are up 5-1 as they play in the bottom of the third. Arizona 2-2 with Cincinnati. That's top of the third. And we have Baltimore, Washington 1-1, top of the fifth. White Sox, they're really bad this year, but they're beating Tampa 2-1, top of the fifth. Texas over Oakland 7-4, bottom of the fourth. Minnesota leading Seattle 2-0 in the first. We have some finals. Angels beat Pittsburgh 5-4. Pittsburgh has called up Paul Skeens. He's going to start on Saturday. Going to make his major league debut. And Toronto beat Philadelphia, cooled off the Phillies 5-3. Cleveland over Detroit 5-4. Kansas City beat Milwaukee 6-4. San Diego shut out the Cubs 3-0. Dodgers beat Miami 3-1. And Oakland, Oakland, they're only 2 games under 500. They beat Texas 9-4. Cardinals and Mets were postponed by rain. And you got the NBA tonight. You got Game 2, Pacers and Knicks. That should be a lot of fun. Love watching games. Love watching playoff games at Madison
Maybe
Square
the
Garden.
only competitive series in the semis. The other 3 are god-awful bad.
Yeah. I'm okay with that. As long as the Celtics are winning and it's not competitive, I'm good with that.
You may be. I'm not sure the NBA is because I can't imagine the ratings for this garbage have been all that good. I mean, the Mavericks Thunder last night, nothing game. Celtics Cavs last night, nothing game. The Timberwolves are turning the Nuggets into a JV team.
Gosh.
The only competitive series through one ball game is the Pacers Knicks.
Yeah, great series. That's the only game tonight is Indiana, New York. Going to tip off a little bit after 8 o'clock. So there you go with all that. Boy, enjoyed the show tonight. Mike Morgan will be with us tomorrow night. I believe Todd Knight, Newberry football coach, joins us tomorrow night to talk some spring football. Haven't confirmed it with him, but he did get back to me, and I think tomorrow night will work. So we look forward to that. Thank you, Chris.
Yes, sir.
And thank you, everybody, for being with us. Thank you, Josh. Have a great night. See you tomorrow.